Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. George Simon, and welcome to another edition of Character Matters, the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we've been in for some time now and that affects every aspect of our lives. We human beings have always had our character-related problems. We're imperfect creatures. It's always been a challenge to develop into a person of genuine integrity. But various factors, especially the cultural climates of the times, have made it harder than ever for folks to develop into the kind of person that we all have it within us to be, or at least that most of us have it within us to be. And the times have also made it such that all manner of character dysfunction, once considered highly unusual, even offensive, more widely condemned, has become not only all too commonplace, but is given a pass. We've gotten problematically all too used to all manner of character dysfunction, so that nothing really shocks us anymore. And it's having a pervasive and negative effect on our lives. Today, I'd like to talk about what I call the 6 keywords of narcissism, the 6 A words, words beginning with A that describe characteristics of narcissists somewhat in increasing order of their problematic nature. These words that I'll be talking about, these descriptors of narcissists, I've mentioned many times. And in all my books, you can read a much more in detailed and much more accurate explanation of the various types and degrees of narcissism. This is one of the main points that I make in all my books, that narcissism is not a one-size-fits-all phenomenon. Not all narcissism is the same. Not all narcissism has the same underpinnings. Narcissism varies as to both type and degree. And I explain this all in detail in every one of my books. And I also have many articles on the blog at drgeorgesimon.com about these matters, so you can access this information free. But the words I'm going to talk about, these 6 A words, are kind of hierarchical in a way, in that with each one, it represents a new level of narcissistic pathology. And the first one I want to talk about, the first A word, is attention. Let me mention the others briefly. Attention first, affirmation, admiration, adulation, acclamation, and adoration. We'll talk about the others in just a moment. Let's start with attention. The most vulnerable, compensatory, more neurotic types of narcissists always want to invite the attention of others. These individuals often start out in life as attention-starved young persons who just want to be noticed. They want the world to know that they're there. Sometimes they've been ignored, but not all attention seekers are wounded types. Some folks simply demand attention and revel in being the center of attention. So I don't mean to imply that these characteristics I'm describing here necessarily are ranked in the order of the seriousness of narcissism pathology. But relatively speaking, the attention-seeking behavior of narcissists is often one of the more benign manifestations of narcissism, and also often one of the indications of a more mild form or type of narcissism. Next comes affirmation. Narcissists of both major types, the types that I describe in my books and many articles, want to be seen as right. Some of the more pathological types simply know they're right. Truth is what they say it is. So once again, my point is that these A words are not necessarily indicative of levels of pathology, but suffice it to say that narcissistic folks want to be affirmed in what they see as the soundness of their worldview, their opinion on things. And if you've been in a relationship with one of these folks, you know how um, irritating it can be for somebody to think that they're always right and everybody else is always wrong. And the extent to which this is a problem probably reflects the seriousness of someone's narcissism, at least the depth of their narcissism. Next comes admiration. Narcissists want to be seen as special, important, maybe even superior. And this is a step beyond the kind of intellectual or opinion superiority that they seek when they want to be affirmed. They want to be seen as right. The more seriously narcissistic someone is, the more they want to be seen as truly special. And they both want and sometimes even expect others to admire them for their brilliance, for their capabilities, or at least what they say is their brilliance or their capabilities, for their accomplishments. Sometimes they actually have accomplishments. But the humble, accomplished person doesn't need to broadcast it. And they don't need others to recognize it. And by the way, I probably have misspoken a little bit because a want, a desire, is not necessarily a need. This is a common mistake, and I just made it. Professionals make this mistake all the time, equating wants and needs. The last thing some narcissists need is more admirers. But admiration is another step in a narcissist's bid to be regarded as special, important, and maybe even, in a sense, superior to others. Next comes adulation, praise. Narcissists expect you to recognize their special status, their importance, and they expect you to pay some homage to it. They expect you to not only recognize their purported greatness, but to acknowledge it. And then following that comes acclamation, where the most grandiose narcissists among us want more widespread adulation. They want to be seen as legendary, one-of-a-kind folks, truly special, outstanding folks that deserve widespread adulation or public acclaim, monuments built to them, etc. And then finally, and perhaps most problematically, adoration. Some narcissists, as I've written about many times before, and you can access several articles on this on the blog and read about it in depth in all my books, are truly legends in their own mind. And they want to be seen in a way that almost deifies them. And in some cases, these folks actually do want to be deified. These are the folks that are guru-like cult leaders or lead cult-like movements, have the manipulative skill to cultivate quite a following. And it's a real testament of the narcissist's incapacity to really recognize or have any reverence for anything bigger than themselves. This is the core dilemma at the heart of the more malignant types of narcissism, and I talk about this at length in my latest book, Essentials for the Journey. So watch out for these key A words in your relationships. Take notice of the behaviors that I've mentioned because they are a good barometer for where someone lies on the narcissistic spectrum. And I'll have more to say about the narcissism spectrum and the various types and degrees of narcissists in an upcoming edition of Character Matters and in future blog posts on the blog at drgeorgesimon.com. So until next time, then, thanks for tuning in. Dr. George Simon wishing you well. Take care.